G'day everybody, my name is Reese and this is my short video series where I show you how to do cool things in SPSS in less than 10 minutes. In this video, I will show you how to perform a two-way repeated measures ANOVA in SPSS. The purpose of this video is to really highlight the unique components of running such a design in SPSS. This video does not cover how to interpret the actual output of a two-way repeated measures ANOVA. A lot of the theory and reporting structure involved with reporting a two-way repeated measures ANOVA is similar to that of a between subjects design. If you are needing help in interpreting two-way repeated measures ANOVA, I suggest you view my between subjects factorial design video or consult with your prescribed text. Alright guys, so I've moved us straight into SPSS here and open up a two-way repeated measures data set. Now this data set is a fake one. I've simulated the data and it actually flows on from the same data set that I used in my one-way repeated measures ANOVA video. So if you followed the one-way repeated measures video, I had a cognitive data set where I had a fake experiment set up where I was testing people's response times on a computer based on the visual presentation of different words on a screen. So I had neutral, negatively phrased, and positively phrased words. Again, not real data, but it suits our purposes today. I've used a similar data set here, but what I've done is I've introduced a second independent variable, hence the word or name two-way repeated measures ANOVA. So if I flick to the variable view here, and I'll stretch out the labels, what I've got here is I've got word type as an IV, neutral words, negative words, positive words, neutral words, negative words, positive words, but I've also got whether they were distracted by some sort of other on-screen stimuli. So if you can pretend that you're a participant in the study for a moment, what would have happened was you would either be presented neutral, positive, or negative words, and then sometimes there'd be a distraction on the screen, and then other times there would be no distraction on the screen. So we're really testing here whether distraction has an impact on response time, whether word type has an effect on response time, but also if there's an interaction between word type and distraction. So that's why we have a two-way repeated measures design. Now, a lot of the content, or a lot of the theory, a lot of the reporting for a two-way repeated measures ANOVA is actually the same as its between subjects counterpart. So if you were to read a report which had done a two-way repeated measures ANOVA, you would see things which are very similar, things like F ratios, post hocs, or plan contrast, all that sort of stuff that you're hopefully all very used to from my other videos. However, what is different about a two-way repeated measures ANOVA is actually from the SPSS side of things. If you can get through the SPSS side of things, it's not too tricky at all. So the purpose of this video here today is to get you through the SPSS side of analyzing two-way repeated measures datasets, and then hopefully if you can follow my other videos on, let's say, between subjects ANOVA or one-way repeated measures ANOVA, you can pick up some other finer points on the actual ins and outs of what an ANOVA is trying to do in terms of interpretation of F ratios. Or what you might like to do is use this as an instructional video of how to generate output for a two-way repeated measures ANOVA, and then use other reporting guides to help you interpret and report on the results. So if you remember back to my one-way repeated measures video, one of the key differences for repeated measures data is how it appears in SPSS. So in a normal between subjects independent variable, you only need one column to represent it. That's why SPSS puts VAR at the start of every column. It thinks that you've got between subjects data, so one column represents one variable. In a repeated measures design, however, you need different columns to represent different levels of your IV. And what we have in this case here, we have two IVs. One has two levels, no distraction or distraction. The other one, word type, has three. So we have a 2x3 repeated measures ANOVA here. So I need 6 columns to represent my data. So that complicates things for SPSS, because when I go to analyze general linear model repeated measures, I need to define my factors. I need to tell SPSS I don't just have 6 columns of data here. What in fact I do have is a 2x3 design. Now, when you go to perform your analysis, you have to be really careful about what variable you enter in first in this first dialog box here. And to know which one you have to put first, and trust me, it'll make your results and your analysis completely wrong if you miss this step up or mess it up. You need to make sure that you read which variable is appearing first, or not so much appearing first, what variable is moving first. So can you see here how it says no distraction, neutral words, no distraction, negative words, no distraction, positive words. In these first 3 variables in my variable view, distraction does not change, word type does. In the second one here, in the second lot of 3, it's the same deal. Distraction stays the same, word type moves. It's the one changing. So we need to enter the variables in a particular order when we go to analyze general linear model repeated measures. SPSS wants to see the factor which is moving slowly first. So no distraction and distraction, that's said to be the slow moving factor. So I need to enter in distraction first. I'll just call it distract for short. So distract 2, it has 2 levels, and then word type has 3. So word type has 3 levels. Now, it's not because, excuse the plane going overhead, it's not because distraction had its name first in the label or in the name. That's not why I'm putting it first here. It's because it didn't change in the first 3, and then it didn't change in the second 3, whereas word type was changing consistently. Neutral, negative, positive, neutral, negative, positive. So you need to make sure you enter it in that order. I like to think of it as the slow moving factor and the fast moving factor. So distraction was slow moving because it didn't initially change, only word type did. And then again, it didn't initially change for the distraction, but word type did. A little bit confusing, but you'll get used to it. A way you can double check that you've done it right is when you go in to perform your analysis, SPSS will give you these little numbers to make sure that you've done it right. So see how it says 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. In this first 3 levels that you drag across, the first thing 1, 1, 1 doesn't change, but 1, 2, 3 does. No distraction neutral, no distraction negative, no distraction positive. So you need to drag them across in that order. If you make your life really easy and be consistent with how you name your variables and label them, it makes your life a lot easier. See, I've got no distraction neutral, no distraction neutral. What would be really confusing if I put no distraction neutral, neutral words, no distraction. I know it seems quite, that decision might be arbitrary, but if you mess that up and you're not aware of it, big things can happen. You might end up dragging your variables across in the wrong order. So I'll drag these across here. So I've got no distraction neutral, no distraction negative, no distraction positive, distraction neutral, distraction negative, distraction positive. Now, once you've got that step out of the way, the good news is that's the hard bit. Once you've actually got your variables into the within subjects variables box, everything else should be familiar to you if you've done a one-way repeated measures ANOVA or a factorial between subjects design. So model is where you fit custom models. Contrast is where you do plan contrasts. If you want to do a plot, you can certainly request a plot. If we don't have any between subjects factors, so we can't do any post hocs here. And you've also got your set of options as well. So I could do descriptive statistics or follow-up comparisons of means, all sorts of stuff. I'm going to keep things nice and simple today because I just wanted to show you that process of getting the variables in and then just generating the output. And once you get to this stage, then hopefully you can consult with your prescribed text to kind of help you get through some of the output. But I can assure you, if you've done a two-way between subjects design, it's the learning curve is not too steep. You still have an interaction effect that you have to analyze, in which case we do have a significant interaction here, and you can report on your main effects as well. Just like in my one-way repeated measures ANOVA video, you have to be mindful of whether you're adopting the multivariate test approach or the traditional approach. If you're adopting the traditional approach, just remember that you have to be mindful of Mauchly's test of sphericity. Again, you could do planned contrast now, you could do follow-ups, all of those sorts of analysis, all those sorts of interpretations would be consistent to as I've presented in other videos. Alright guys, that wraps up our short video today on two-way repeated measures ANOVA. I hope you have found it useful and are now able to perform your own two-way designs that are measured with repeated measures factors. Please note, this video did not highlight the difficulties, the importance, or the intricacies of reporting two-way designs. If you need assistance with reporting a two-way ANOVA design, please consult my other videos on between subjects factorial design or consult your prescribed text. Again, a lot of the features of reporting a two-way repeated measures ANOVA are consistent with that of between subjects designs. So although it's important to recognize the differences from an analysis point of view, and perhaps from a research design point of view, a lot of the reporting models, a lot of the reporting structures are consistent between the two models. Alright guys, thanks for catching up with this video today. I'll see you next time.